It started like any other peaceful evening in my quiet neighborhood. The sun was setting, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, and I was reviewing reports in my home office, sipping my coffee and enjoying the calm. My phone rang, a number I didn't recognize flashing on the screen. With a slight hesitation, I answered, only to hear a voice, clipped and official sounding, announcing that I was under arrest for violations of my homeowners association rules. I froze, coffee halfway to my lips. At first, I thought it was a prank. Who in their right mind would call me with such audacity? But then I heard the voices outside, the unmistakable sound of boots crunching on gravel and authoritative shouting. They were approaching my front door. Heart racing, I rose from my chair and peered through the blinds, expecting to see local law enforcement. But what I saw made my blood run cold. Several men and women in what appeared to be police uniforms, badges glinting in the fading sunlight, marching confidently toward my house. I stepped outside, hands raised slightly in caution, and demanded to see proper identification. They flashed badges, gave official-sounding orders, and insisted they had a warrant. But something in their manner, the stiffness, the over-eagerness, triggered a memory. I was not only a resident of this community, I was the chief of police. A wave of disbelief, followed immediately by anger, surged through me. How dare anyone, even the HOA, think they could intimidate me, question me, or attempt to arrest me? I told them to stop immediately, but they pressed on, claiming legal authority granted by the Homeowners Association. The neighbors began to peek from their windows, whispering, confused and alarmed. I raised my voice, announcing my position. I am the chief of police, and you are trespassing and impersonating officers. The moment seemed to freeze. Their confident demeanor faltered for just a second, enough for me to pull out my phone and call in backup, not from the local precinct, but from trusted deputies I had briefed privately for such emergencies. Within minutes, marked police vehicles arrived at the scene. The HOA imposters, realizing they were exposed, tried to retreat, but the law was already upon them. It was a surreal blend of triumph and chaos, neighbors applauding, quietly from behind curtains, my officers securing the area, and me standing tall, asserting authority over the absurd situation. That night, after the HOA fraudsters were arrested and their falsified documents seized, I sat back in my office, replaying every moment. How easily someone could be intimidated if they didn't know their rights, if they didn't know the law, or if they weren't prepared to stand up. I realized the importance of knowledge, of vigilance, and of courage. I knew this story couldn't remain private. People had to see how dangerous false authority could be, and how justice, when claimed confidently, could protect the innocent. And, as I recorded a video recounting the day's events for my community awareness channel, I leaned closer to the camera and said, if you want to know how to protect yourself from fake authority and stay empowered, subscribe to this channel, because the truth is your strongest defense. The night grew quiet again, but the lesson echoed loudly in my mind. Never underestimate the power of knowing who you are and the law you serve. The morning after the failed HOA raid felt surreal. I woke to the sunlight streaming through my blinds, but instead of peace, my mind buzzed with questions and strategy. How had the HOA dared to send fake officers to arrest me? Who was behind this audacious scheme? As I reviewed the recordings from my home security cameras, my blood ran cold. Every step they took, every fake badge they flashed, had been meticulously orchestrated. This was no simple misunderstanding or petty act of intimidation. It was a full-blown conspiracy designed to test whether I could be coerced into submission. I knew I had to act quickly. As chief of police, I couldn't let this go unpunished. My first move was to gather all evidence, video footage, falsified warrants, and even communications from the HOA president that hinted at this plan. Every email and text became a piece of a puzzle revealing the scope of their audacity. The neighbors, initially intimidated by the brazen attempt, began approaching me cautiously, asking what had happened. Their eyes reflected the same mix of fear and disbelief I had felt just the night before. I realized this could be bigger than a single neighborhood drama. It could serve as a lesson for the entire community about the dangers of false authority and the importance of standing up for oneself. With my deputies at my side, we began systematically contacting legal experts and municipal authorities to ensure the HOA could be held accountable for impersonating law enforcement, conspiracy, and intimidation. Every phone call felt like another step toward justice, another brick in dismantling their scheme. Meanwhile, I decided to go public. I recorded a video explaining exactly what had happened, showing portions of the security footage and breaking down how the HOA's fake arrests had been planned. I spoke directly to the camera. People need to know that just because someone wears a badge or claims authority, it doesn't mean they have the law on their side. Stay vigilant, know your rights, and never be afraid to stand up for yourself. I made sure to leave no doubt. Subscribing to the channel was crucial for anyone who wanted to learn how to protect themselves, understand the law, and spot deception before it became dangerous. The response was overwhelming. Within hours, comments poured in from viewers who had experienced similar intimidation, who had been too afraid to speak up, or who simply wanted to understand how to protect themselves. Their messages fueled my resolve. I realized that this incident, though terrifying at first, had become a powerful platform to educate, empower, and inspire others. The HOA, facing mounting legal pressure and public scrutiny, began to crumble. Their leaders tried to deny responsibility, claiming the fake officers acted independently, but the evidence was undeniable. Court hearings were scheduled, and the neighborhood watched closely, learning in real time how accountability and law enforcement intersect. By the end of the week, the HOA fraudsters were formally charged, and policies were introduced to prevent such incidents from happening again. I walked through my neighborhood, greeting neighbors who now looked at me not just as a police chief, but as someone who had literally faced down a conspiracy and come out stronger. Every handshake, every nod, felt like a shared victory, a reaffirmation that courage, knowledge, and decisive action could overcome deception. That night, as I sat down to update my channel with the final chapter of the story, I smiled and spoke into the camera. This isn't just my story. It's a warning, a lesson, and a call to action. If you want to stay informed, stay safe, and learn how to stand up when faced with false authority, subscribe now. Knowledge is power, and together we can make sure no one can intimidate us with lies or fake badges. And with that, I ended the video, the screen fading to black, but the message burning brightly. Awareness and courage are the strongest weapons anyone can have, and the truth will always outshine deceit.